What's happening, guys? So let's talk about the Immortal Hulk, which is the return of the OG Bruce Banner Hulk. So Cho and Weapon H need to watch out before this dude roll out asking for a group hug. And you know what's crazy? I was just thinking the other day when we were talking about Weapon H, and we was going back and forth in the comment section just talking about how he would stack up to the original Bruce Banner Hulk. And going into that Weapon H series, I feel like an argument could be made for him to contest Hulk, mainly going off the basis of Banner Hulk versus Wolverine. But then when I go into No Surrender and read about how this Hulk came back this time, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Because it's one thing, like just talking about Banner Hulk, it's one thing to be talking about the Incredible Hulk and talking about the Immortal Hulk. Because your Immortal Hulk takes a combination of the continuity and gives us something much worse than a monster. And I'll make more sense of that in just a little bit. But mainly one of the things that No Surrender is doing in Marvel Legacy is giving us the latest resurrection of the Hulk, which will later springboard into his own solo series. And I can't wait to tell you guys my thoughts on that. But to make sense of the Hulk's return, this really stems from a contest between the Grand Master and a fellow Elder of the Universe named the Challenger. And the Grand Master, most of you guys are already familiar with because he holds the Contest of Champions, and then, Thor Ragnarok came out, which was kind of the Grand Master. But the Challenger, this guy's new. And what's crazy is he was originally the Grand Master. And this is a retcon to the original history. But I like it, because when most retcons are done right, they will build a new narrative off of existing history. And a lot of what history is, depending on who you're getting the story from, is usually a tale that's being told by the winner. Because when no one has access to where you're from, or the beginning of the universe in this case, all they would really have to go off of is what you tell them. And in this instance, we find out that the Grand Master was doing exactly that. And the best way to really explain the functions of the different elders, because they live for so long, each one will gravitate towards a certain thing kind of to occupy their time. And that's how you would have the collector, the runner, the promoter, like they would do exactly what their name would say. And aside from their title, most would have their actual name as well. And these two would often compete in really any type of challenge that they can put their hands to. But when the time began where many of these guys were taking on titles that they will be known for throughout the universe, and possibly to the end of time, these two were kind of like your last two. And it was a problem because they did the same thing. And so when one of them came up with the name the Grand Master, the other one, Ndui, he was like, nah, I want that name. And he banished the original Grand Master outside of time and existence. And he's been there ever since in endless darkness alone, waiting for the universe, which was young at the time, to die. And eventually, it did. And so when we had the Incursion event and Secret Wars took place and Reed Richards fixed everything, because the universe had ended, he was able to find a way back and hunt down Ndui, who we know as the Grand Master. And as you would guess, he wasn't too happy. But from this point forward, he would be known as the Challenger. But instead of just coming back and killing the Grand Master, he placed a wager to compete with him, more or less for the price of the Grand Master's head. So like if he loses, he'll twist his head off. If he cheats, he'll twist his head off. And if he wins, either at that point he's earned the name Grand Master, or he'll challenge him again and keep challenging him until he wins so he can twist his head off. But during the time that the Challenger's been gone, he's been setting some plans in place. Because he knew when he met the Grand Master again, they were going to compete, and much like before, the stakes would get higher and higher. So instead of last time where the loser would get erased from existence, this time the wager's for death. And the way this contest would go, each one would have their choice of contenders who would collect and retrieve these paramoids, and best 3 out of 5 would win. And to undergo this contest, which is placed on Earth, for one, the Earth was moved from where it was originally at in our solar system, and this was done with a very similar style to the Incursion that I mentioned earlier. But when the Grand Master and the Challenger did this, it was with the purpose of using the Earth as a playground for their contenders. And all of Earth's mightiest heroes who were on Earth at that time, they would be used as obstacles that the contenders had to go through to retrieve the paramoids. And this is where we start to see how the Challenger had set his preparation, because the Challenger intentionally chose a team of 6, being the Black Order, to go against the Grand Master's team, the Lethal Legion, which is a team of 7. And I'm not gonna front, when I first seen the Lethal Legion, I was like, okay, what these guys gonna do? But when both of them just appeared in front of each other, like Hunger Games style, and instantly went for each other's throats, I was like, okay, a few of these guys is a real problem. Especially with Maul or Malin, not really sure how to pronounce his name, but when he took Thor's hammer and started beating everybody else up with it, I was like, oh, come on, man, that's just disrespectful. And you can tell, as soon as Thor let go of it, she knew it was a bad decision. Like in a broader scope, if she knew this was all a game, she'd be like, hey man, let me get a redo. Like, run that back. But like I said, the point of the game is to capture the most pyramids, and each one has like an elemental power that it'll use to either protect itself or cause whatever catastrophe according to that power through the course of the game. In the way that the game is set up, when a member of either team grabs this pyramid, they're transferred back to the Grandmaster's game room and trapped in an ISO crystal. And so at this point, like I said, it's best out of 5, and the challenger is up 2 because Black Dwarf had retrieved 1 and the Human Torch had grabbed the other. And the way the game goes, if an obstacle grabs one of the pyramids, that counts against you, and that's what put the challenger up 2. But now at this point, going up against the Grandmaster, the challenger is now too short. Too short. What's my favorite word? Okay, don't say that out loud. But what I mean by him being too short is he started out 6 against 7, and now with 1 man off the board, he's 5 against 7. And with the Grandmaster feeling like he has the advantage here, the challenger tells him, oh no, this is where I pull my ace in the hole. Because he intentionally went 1 man short, so he can call on his 7th contender who has been buried under some rubble in Arizona ever since Secret Empire. And the reason that Banner didn't stay alive too long in that story arc is only because Artem Zola's solution to resurrect him was only temporary. So after a short run, when it wore off, he was dead again indefinitely. And so when the challenger who had did his research came to the mound and made his bargain with the Hulk, he didn't only choose him because he would be the most powerful player on the board, but he also made a selection with understanding of the Hulk's rage. And for the challenger, he felt like he could relate to the Hulk because of his relationship with the Grandmaster. And because of this, the way that the challenger sees it, the Hulk was betrayed just like he was, in the exact same way that the Grandmaster made a decision to put him away, to erase him from existence, to decide for him that he would no longer be a part of reality, figuratively speaking. And to the challenger, Bruce Banner was the Grandmaster. And when Bruce made that deal with Hawkeye in Civil War II, for him to take him down if he looked like he was gonna Hulk out, that was no different than the Grandmaster denying the challenger of his name and his existence. And that's what made his choice of the Hulk not only strategic, but personal. But when the challenger calls in the Hulk, things get a little dicey because now there's a wild card. Because when the Earth got displaced at the beginning of Avengers No Surrender, remember, it was very similar to the incursion. And because this was a similar anomaly, it appears to have similar effects. Just like how the challenger had returned, we also got the return of Voyager, who, as it turns out, she appears to be one of the original members of the Avengers. And as it appears, she was disintegrated and erased from time in some memory. And a few of them did remember her. I want to say like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. There were a few that still remembered who she was. But with this new incursion that displaced the Earth, she was able to find her way back and reunite with the Avengers. And I know a few of you guys may have mixed feelings about characters being introduced like this, with modifying the past, changing memories, much like with the Challenger, here with Voyager, and even like we gotten in the past with the Sentry. But I'm going to be as bold as to say it now. Like, do not be surprised if Avengers 4 does not have time travel, and we find out Infinity War wasn't the first catastrophic event that changed the universe, hence the destruction of Titan. But I'm gonna say that for another video. But my point being, this isn't the first time that Marvel's brought in characters who have supposedly been around, and then this huge event comes along that makes us realize that we've been in an alternate reality this whole time. And I actually did that video like a year ago. I'll see if I can find that link and like put it in the description or something, but it's probably time to update it too, because there's some new stuff out that makes it look even more like it's gonna happen. But as far as Voyager here, the reason I jumped to her is because she's been keeping a secret, and it's one that she's never told the Avengers, and her secret is the Grandmaster is really her father, and she's actually playing the role as his ace in the hole by moving the next pyramid so the Hulk can't get to it. But at the time that it's revealed that she's actually the Grandmaster's daughter, this is where we get her true origin, or her true retcon origin again, because this is where we find out that she's been helping the Grandmaster play dirty for ages. In this case, planting false memories into the Avengers by leading them to believe she was really an original member, but nonetheless playing the field to the advantage of the Grandmaster. Yeah, it's real trippy, but clever. But this has been her role the whole time. And so now Hulk, who has to go through all this extra stuff to get the winning pyramid, he is not letting anything stop him. And this Hulk, who is shrouded in much mystery because he's really not saying anything and he's being extra brutal. And he's so brutal that after he turns Captain Glory's spine into toothpaste, and that was Captain Glory from the Lethal Legion, but after he turns his bone structure into caramel cashew brittle, he then grabs Menticle, who's also from the Lethal Legion, and what he does to him is so ungodly that the panel doesn't even show it. It's so gruesome that the Grand Master can't even watch. And all you see is like the Grand Master and the Challenger's faces, and from the screen is like just screaming. And I'm sure Menticle was saying more than no. He was probably like, "Mother of God, why? In the name of everything that's holy. That doesn't bend that way, ah." Like, there's no telling where he ripped those tentacles off and made them go, man. And when the Avengers and everyone else saw this on the screen, their reaction was pretty much like Dustin from Stranger Things 2 when the Demogorgon got out, and they knew they had to do something about it, but at the same time it's like, this ain't gonna go well, because he just turned the first dude's bones into talcum powder, and the second dude, he just went straight origami with him. Like, I think he's a swan now. But from here going forward, I'm trying not to clap while I'm talking, but from here going forward, it is a marathon of failure. Enigma gets peeled and tossed like a candy wrapper. Cannonball gets slapped so hard. He gets slapped so hard that he turns into a swastika, like his leg going this way, the other arm that way. And what I don't get is like, crazy impacts have been known to shut down his protective shield or his blast fields when he propels like a cannonball. But this is also the way that he found out that he was immortal. So I'm thinking like, did Quicksilver really have to go over and catch him? Or did he just do that to look busy so he wouldn't have to engage the Hulk? Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. But they even send in General Robert Maverick, who's the Red Hulk. And before he goes in, Dr. Tony is like, look, okay, the Red Hulk doesn't stand a chance against the Green Hulk. You need armor. And he catches Faye like he in the barber chair, like, sit down, how you want it. And I ain't gonna front on him, he got a couple hits in, but Hulk is out here looking like Mike Tyson in the 90s. Like, if you get 10 or 11 seconds with this guy, you did a good job. But the finisher for Red Hulk, like straight up Mortal Kombat style, like he took his soul. Nah, not literally, but he absorbs all the gamma radiation from Red Hulk, leaving him drained and his armor powerless, which it just falls off at that point. And so next, when the Scarlet Witch uses her hex magic to release Vision, initially he doesn't engage, only to get Maverick in the clear. So after he phases through the Hulk, which pisses him off even more, because you just don't phase through it, brother, man, that ain't cool. Like, say excuse me or something. But when he does this and it gets the Hulk's attention, Quicksilver swoops through, gets Maverick like, hey, look at me, staying busy, got other things to do, such a busy guy. But Vision, who usually fights the same way when he fights, or completely intangible. And from a point of observation, the Challenger calls it, because that's his play and he pulls that card in every fight. But while he's doing this, he's trying to talk reason to the Hulk, believing that he's getting through the banner. But when Vision realizes that he can't, he does the predictable reach through and scramble the brain. But when he does this, Hulk times it halfway through him solidifying and smashes the solar jewel on his forehead, which is literally lights out for this guy. Like, he's done. And unfortunately, the Vision did not see that coming. I'm sorry. Like, he beat this dude back to binary. Like, he just sitting there like 0 1 0 1. Like, they gonna have to refurbish this dude. He's done. But we get a turn of events when Wonder Man tries to reason with him, because at this point, Hulk has made it all the way to the door where Voyager's on the other side, hiding with the last Paramoid. But it's at this point, since Hulk's current resurrection, telling Wonder Man that we're not friends, I don't like you for this specific reason, and he's telling him when the Challenger woke him up to use him to get these Paramoids, that instead the Hulk is fully aware of what he's doing, and that when this game ends, the world ends with it, and finally Hulk will be left alone. And immediately Thor and Hercules jump in like, oh hell no. Because from here forward, it is confirmed the Hulk is fully coherent. He's fully in control and he's making these decisions with intelligence, which we know can be a very bad combination. But when Rogue absorbs his gamma energy, his part of his memories and his rage, we get a glimpse of Banner again. Well, last time it wasn't a glimpse, we just heard his voice, but he's saying the same thing, and he's warning everyone to run. Because they cannot kill the Hulk. He cannot die. And it doesn't matter what you do. Shoot him in the eye, shoot him in the heart with vibranium arrows. Thor's even broke his neck one time. Matter of fact, he's had his neck broken on a few occasions. But Banner knows better than anyone else. Second closest to probably knowing this is probably Dr. Voodoo. But Banner knows no matter how he's died, the Hulk keeps coming back. Like, there is no getting rid of this guy. And he's not like one of your kind of immortals where they live forever and they're hard to kill. Nah, he's going to keep coming back. Whether he's decapitated or wasted down to the bone, or even drained of his gamma radiation. And it's almost like over the years he's gotten worse. But this is what it's come to. And when he enters the vault to retrieve the last pyramid, the Challenger who's communicating with him, of course, directs him in. And when the Hulk enters the vault and he grabs the last pyramid, before it can activate its element or send him back to the Grandmaster's game room, he smashes it. Oh man, y'all don't understand. The Challenger right now, he been waiting eons to have a rematch with the Grandmaster. And when the Hulk does this, he is crushed. And I'm sure the next time he sees the Hulk, he'll express these feelings to him. And when he does, Hulk will be like, I can tell. And he'll be like, how? And Hulk will be like, cause we're connected. I'm telling you, like, the Hulk superpower, I've told you before, the Hulk superpower is not giving a damn. I know I've made that clear at some point. Like, we was probably talking about it like on Twitter not too long ago. Like, Hulk literally came back from the grave just to crawl back out, get in your face and say, I still don't give a damn. Oh man, I love it. Oh man, it's so good. Alright, so I'm pretty sure at this point the Grandmaster, he's going to catch hell from the Challenger. And from the way it reads, I don't think it's going to be long before we see that. But I look forward to it. I look forward to Immortal Hulk. And I want to say that the standalone series is supposed to take on a horror tone too. So I look forward to that. It sounds a lot like the first appearance of the Hulk. So I'm totally with that. But that'll do it for this one, guys. But just as a reminder, the Keep It 100 giveaway for the $100 gift card in celebration for 100K subscribers, it's only available to patrons who have already pledged before April 1st, only because you have to be processed for any of those giveaways. And I think it's like 12 of you guys that are eligible right now. So congratulations in advance for winning $100. Whoever that lucky winner is, I'm just speaking into the future. But that's enough out of me for this one, guys. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch spills every week. And I'm out. Later.